Beneath 15 meters of Mediterranean water, in the murky depths of Egypt's Abu Qir Bay, lies what may be the greatest archaeological discovery of the 21st century, and possibly the real-world inspiration for history's most famous lost civilization. When French marine archaeologist Franck Godot first glimpsed the colossal statue heads emerging from the seafloor in 1999, he had no idea that he was about to uncover evidence that would fundamentally challenge everything scholars believed about both ancient Egypt and Plato's legendary Atlantis. This is not merely the story of another sunken city. This is the tale of Thonis-Heracleion, a metropolis so powerful it controlled the gateway to an entire empire, so wealthy it rivaled the greatest ports of antiquity, and so magnificent that its destruction echoes through history as one of the most catastrophic natural disasters ever recorded. For over 1,200 years, this city commanded the Mediterranean world, only to vanish beneath the waves in circumstances so eerily similar to Plato's Atlantis that even the most skeptical archaeologists are beginning to wonder, did the philosopher's most famous tale have roots in historical reality? The city that would become legend was born from Egypt's desperate need to control Mediterranean trade in the 8th century BC. As Greek merchants, Persian diplomats, and Phoenician traders increasingly sought access to the legendary wealth of the pharaohs, Egypt faced a critical strategic challenge. The Nile Delta's numerous waterways and shifting sandbars made navigation treacherous for foreign vessels, unfamiliar with local conditions. Pirates lurked in hidden channels, while religious law demanded that all foreigners undergo purification rituals before entering sacred Egyptian territory. Thonis-Heracleion emerged as Egypt's brilliant solution to these challenges. Built on a network of interconnected islands in the westernmost branch of the Nile Delta, the city served as both fortress and filter, controlling every ship that wished to trade with the pharaohs. Ancient papyri describe it as the key to Egypt, where foreign vessels were required to stop, pay customs duties, and obtain official permits before proceeding inland. The city's position was so strategically vital that for over 4 centuries, from roughly 750 BC until Alexandria's founding in 331 BC, virtually all Mediterranean trade with Egypt flowed through its harbors. But Thonis-Heracleion was far more than a mere trading post. The city functioned as Egypt's religious gateway, where pharaohs traveled to receive divine confirmation of their universal kingship from the god Amun-Gereb, the supreme deity of the Egyptian pantheon. The temple of Amun-Gereb dominated the city's center, a colossal structure whose sacred precincts covered over 200 acres. Recent underwater excavations have revealed the temple's true scale. Its outer walls enclosed an area larger than 10 football fields, with inner sanctuaries built from red granite quarried in distant Aswan and transported down the Nile at enormous expense. Archaeological evidence paints a picture of religious ceremonies that would have dazzled ancient visitors. The recently discovered Decree of Sais, a massive stone stela found in the temple ruins, describes elaborate festivals celebrating the mysteries of Osiris, where the god's golden ceremonial barge was carried in procession from Thonis-Heracleion to neighboring Canopus. Thousands of pilgrims from across the Mediterranean world participated in these festivals, seeking miraculous healing and divine blessings. The ceremonies lasted for days, with priests performing intricate rituals involving sacred waters, incense, and offerings of gold, silver, and precious stones. The city's religious significance extended far beyond Egyptian traditions. Recent excavations by Godot's team have uncovered a remarkable temple complex dedicated to Aphrodite, the Greek goddess of love, complete with Greek inscriptions and architectural elements that mirror temples found in mainland Greece. This discovery proves that Thonis-Heracleion hosted permanent communities of Greek merchants and settlers, creating a unique, multicultural society where Egyptian priests worked alongside Greek traders, and Hellenic gods received worship in temples built according to traditional Egyptian architectural principles. The daily life of this cosmopolitan metropolis would have been a spectacle worthy of ancient travel writers. Gaudio's underwater excavations have revealed a city built on an intricate network of canals, islands, and artificial harbors connected by bridges, ferries, and floating pontoons. The main commercial district occupied the largest central island, where massive warehouse complexes stored goods from across the known world: Indian spices, Arabian incense, African gold, Greek olive oil, and Syrian cedar wood. Residential neighborhoods spread across smaller islands, connected by permanent bridges made from massive limestone blocks, some weighing over 50 tons each. Recent technological advances have revolutionized understanding of the city's layout and daily operations. Gaudio's team now employs sophisticated sonar mapping, ground-penetrating radar, and underwater magnetometers to peer beneath layers of sediment that have accumulated over more than 2,000 years. These surveys reveal that Thonis-Heracleion originally covered approximately 110 square kilometers larger than modern-day San Francisco, with a main harbor complex that could accommodate over 200 ships simultaneously. The scale of infrastructure required for such operations would have rivaled the greatest ports of the Roman Empire. The wealth discovered in the ruins defies comprehension. The 2023 excavation season alone yielded over 300 artifacts of precious metals, including ritual vessels crafted from solid silver, ceremonial daggers with gold-inlaid handles, and jewelry displaying technical sophistication that wouldn't be matched again until the Renaissance. Alabaster containers still held traces of exotic perfumes and unguents, their contents preserved by the Mediterranean's unique chemical conditions. Most remarkably, archaeologists discovered 2,400-year-old wicker baskets filled with doom palm fruit, their organic contents so perfectly preserved that seeds remain viable for modern botanical analysis. The city's military capabilities matched its commercial and religious importance. Underwater surveys have identified the remains of massive defensive walls constructed from precisely fitted limestone blocks, each weighing between 15 and 30 tons. These fortifications protected the main harbor entrances, while underwater barriers, essentially ancient submarine nets made from bronze chains and wooden stakes, prevented enemy vessels from entering the port undetected. In 2021, Gaudio's team discovered the crushed remains of a Ptolemaic warship. Its hull, built using hybrid Egyptian-Greek construction techniques that produced vessels of exceptional seaworthiness and speed. Perhaps most intriguingly, recent excavations have uncovered evidence that Thonis-Heracleion served as a center for technological innovation that influenced Mediterranean shipbuilding for centuries. Analysis of ship remains shows that local craftsmen developed revolutionary techniques for joining different types of wood to create hulls that were both flexible enough to survive rough seas and strong enough to carry enormous cargo loads. These innovations spread throughout the ancient world, appearing in Roman shipyards and later influencing Arab dhow construction that dominated Indian Ocean trade for over a millennium. The parallels between Thonis-Heracleion and Plato's Atlantis become more striking with each archaeological discovery. Both cities were described as mighty naval powers that controlled extensive trade networks spanning multiple continents. Both possessed magnificent temples dedicated to their supreme deities, served as centers of religious pilgrimage, and wielded military and economic influence far beyond their geographical boundaries. Both were built on circular or ring-shaped plans, intersected by canals and connected by bridges, exactly matching recent sonar maps of Thonis-Heracleion's original layout. The timeline connections prove equally fascinating. Plato claimed that Egyptian priests told the Greek lawgiver Solon about Atlantis's destruction, 9,000 years before his visit to Egypt, around 600 BC. Most scholars interpret this as 9,600 BC, which would place Atlantis in the Paleolithic period, when advanced civilizations did not exist. However, several researchers have noted that ancient number systems were prone to translation errors, particularly when converting between Egyptian hieroglyphic numerals and Greek alphabetic numerals. If the original Egyptian records stated 900 years rather than 9,000, the destruction would date to around 1500 BC, remarkably close to when natural disasters began affecting the Nile Delta region. Modern geological research has revealed the catastrophic forces that destroyed Thonis-Heracleion in terrifying detail. The Nile Delta sits on highly unstable sedimentary layers that are prone to liquefaction during earthquakes. When seismic tremors strike, underground water mixes with loose sediment to create quicksand-like conditions that can swallow entire city blocks in minutes. Core samples taken from the seafloor around Thonis-Heracleion show evidence of at least 3 major liquefaction events between 400 BC and 800 AD, each capable of destroying large portions of the city. The final destruction occurred around 150 BC, when a massive earthquake struck the eastern Mediterranean with unprecedented violence. Geological evidence suggests the tremor reached magnitude 8.0 or higher, causing soil liquefaction across an area of over 1,000 square kilometers. Contemporary accounts describe the earth opening its mouth to swallow buildings, while massive tidal waves swept across the delta, carrying away everything in their path. The catastrophe was so complete that within decades, sand and silt had buried the ruins so deeply that the city's location was forgotten. Yet the story of Thonis-Heracleion's destruction extends far beyond a single catastrophic event. Recent climate research has revealed that the city faced centuries of gradual submergence due to rising sea levels and land subsidence. Environmental challenges that mirror modern concerns about climate change. The Nile Delta has been sinking at rates of 3 to 8 millimeters per year for over 2 millennia, while Mediterranean sea levels have risen at accelerating rates due to thermal expansion and increased freshwater input from melting glaciers. Archaeological evidence shows that the city's inhabitants fought a losing battle against these environmental forces for generations before the final earthquake delivered the coup de grace. Underwater excavations have revealed multiple layers of sand and silt separating different construction phases, indicating that residents repeatedly rebuilt on higher foundations as floodwaters encroached. Harbor installations show evidence of constant modification to accommodate changing water levels, while residential areas migrated progressively inland as outer islands became uninhabitable. The discovery of Thonis-Heracleion has revolutionized understanding of ancient Mediterranean trade networks and cultural exchange. Before Gaudio's work, historians believed that Greek influence in Egypt remained relatively superficial until Alexander the Great's conquest. The underwater city reveals a far more complex reality. Greek merchants had established permanent communities in Egypt centuries earlier, creating hybrid cultures that blended Hellenic and Egyptian traditions in unprecedented ways. The Temple of Aphrodite found in Thonis-Heracleion contains architectural elements and religious symbols that appear nowhere else in the ancient world, suggesting that cultural fusion produced entirely new forms of art and worship. Perhaps most remarkably, recent excavations have uncovered evidence that Thonis-Heracleion influenced cultures far beyond the Mediterranean basin. Analysis of goods found in the city's warehouse districts reveals trade connections extending to India, Central Asia, and Sub-Saharan Africa. Chinese silk has been discovered alongside Indian cotton and African ivory, indicating that the city served as a crucial link in transcontinental trade networks that connected the Atlantic and Pacific worlds, centuries before the Roman Empire reached its zenith. The technological innovations discovered in Thonis-Heracleion continue to surprise archaeologists. Underwater surveys have revealed sophisticated harbor engineering that includes the world's earliest known examples of reinforced concrete construction, using a mixture of lime mortar, volcanic ash, and crushed pottery that remains intact after 2,000 years underwater. The city's water management systems incorporated advanced hydraulic engineering principles that wouldn't be rediscovered in Europe until the Renaissance. These technological achievements suggest that ancient Mediterranean civilizations possessed engineering capabilities far more advanced than previously believed. As Gradual's team continues exploring the underwater ruins, each discovery adds new dimensions to the Atlantis question. The most recent excavation season uncovered a previously unknown district of the city, containing what appears to be an ancient university or research center, complete with libraries, laboratories, and astronomical observation platforms. Papyrus fragments found in sealed containers describe mathematical calculations, astronomical observations, and engineering projects that demonstrate intellectual sophistication rivaling classical Athens or Hellenistic Alexandria. The implications extend far beyond archaeology into fundamental questions about how historical memory preserves and transforms real events into legend. If Thonis-Heracleion did inspire Plato's Atlantis tale, it would demonstrate how oral traditions can preserve accurate historical information across centuries while embellishing factual events into mythological narratives. The discovery suggests that other ancient legends, dismissed as pure fiction, from Homer's Troy to the biblical Exodus, might contain more historical truth than modern scholars have recognized. The continuing exploration of Thonis-Heracleion faces both opportunities and urgent challenges. Climate change and rising sea levels threaten to bury the ruins under additional layers of sediment, while increased Mediterranean shipping traffic poses risks of anchor damage and pollution. Gradual estimates that his team has explored less than 5% of the site, meaning that decades of discoveries still lie ahead, if the ruins can be protected from modern environmental threats. In the silent depths of Amun-Gereb, surrounded by the scattered monuments of a forgotten empire, Thonis-Heracleion stands as testament to both human achievement and natural power. Whether or not this sunken metropolis inspired Plato's most famous tale, its discovery proves that reality can be more extraordinary than legend. As marine archaeologists continue their underwater excavations, guided by technology that would seem magical to ancient observers, they are not merely recovering artifacts from a lost civilization. They are rewriting the story of human civilization itself. The real Atlantis may never be definitively identified, but in the submerged palaces and temples of Thonis-Heracleion, we have discovered something equally remarkable. Proof that the ancient world was far more complex, sophisticated, and interconnected than we ever dared imagine. And in that revelation lies perhaps the most important lesson of all, that the greatest mysteries of the past still await discovery beneath the waves.